here we have an animation that just got loaded in from the anchor.sketch file. And as you can see, it's just a simple rotation around the center of each one of those objects. If we open and close that, you can see that there's a single track for each one, and it's the rotation track. So let's turn on relative mode. Select this guy. We're going to move his anchor point down. So now it should be right here. This one, we're going to move to the top. This one, we're going to move it to the right. And this one, we're going to move to the left. Let's play. Now each one rotates by its own individual anchor point. This one we didn't change, so it's staying exactly in the middle. Now, I want to show you something cool. You can also animate the anchor point. So let's have a look at how that works. First, to make things a little bit cleaner, I'm going to get rid of everything except for the purple one. Okay, so there's that basic animation. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you how changing the anchor point works. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm leaving it in relative mode. I'm putting the anchor point into the top left. Now it rotates from its top left corner. And now I'm going to turn off relative mode. I'm also going to delete this rotation because it's going to make things awkward to see to begin with. So we have a shape. It's not moving. Its anchor point is at the top left. At the end of the animation with relative mode off, I change the anchor point. What does that do? It looks like it does nothing. Why? Because what we're trying to do in Flow is preserve the state of your animation at any given point in time. So the square starts in this position and ends in this position. When you change the anchor point, it also puts an appropriate X or Y translation in there as well. So to see the anchor point moving, you can delete the sort of preserving Y animation that Flow creates. And look, that anchor point is changing. So what's happening here? Okay. The anchor point was at the top left to begin with. You see right here, it's at the top left. And its position was 145, 145. And as you keep moving, that anchor point is changing and animating to the bottom. And its position is still 145 by 145. When you position anything, it gets positioned according to its anchor point. That anchor point is at 145, 145. And that's why it looks like this thing slides up. If I added a rotation to that now, which we had before was 360 degrees, that's what it would look like. It starts with the top left and sort of smoothly transitions into this sort of step up animation. And you can get some really cool effects with this, actually. You can move things around. You can do some sliding bits. And you can start to get really creative with how you animate the anchor point. Okay, so now let's look at how anchor point affects distribution or the positioning of things. So I'm going to create a new timeline. We just need the one artboard. Let's turn on relative mode because we want to make some changes. We want to put this guy up here, put this guy here like this. We're going to go like this. We're going to distribute those things or we're going to left align them. And now we're in a good position. They're all in the middle of the canvas. And we're going to customize the anchor point for each one of these things. We're going to turn off relative mode. We're going to change all of these anchor points so that there's an animation. But the main thing that we're trying to do here is get access to a key value for an anchor point. Now, what we're going to do is from the top to the bottom, we're going to select that anchor point key value. Okay. Now I've selected it for the blue one. I want to leave it at 0. For the pink one, I want that anchor point to be 0.25. For purple, I want it to be 0.5. For green, I want it to be 0.75. And for yellow, I want it to be 1. Now you see how everything moved, right? Now, if we take everything and say we want to position them all like this, their positions are going to be 175, the center of the canvas. They look like they're not, but that's only because their anchor points are offset. So let's have a look one more time at that rotation. Let's call this 360 and press play. And you can start to see that there's a lot of power in playing around with the anchor point to get some really nice effects